as a parent, I believe that all parents are leaders. It just depends on what kind of leader they are. but I try to be a parent that is transparent and that is that's a role model. So that's how I try to live my life, so that, you know, my kids are always watching me, and so I want to be able to influence them the best way I can. Obviously, we have moments where, you know, things don't go quite as planned, and, you know, that kind of thing. But as far as considering myself a leader, I would say that's kind of when I started considering myself a leader, is when I became a parent. And then I believe it's my responsibility as a parent, as, you know, as an individual, that I need to leave a legacy of some sort that is, you know, some kind of, you know, having influence in more people's lives. So that's kind of where. I think just looking back on my life, I feel like I've been set up from the time I was little, just because there was so many times where I was just kind of left to figure it out. And I would complain about it and say, oh, why don't I have like a trail, you know, even within my family, like, why isn't there a trail that I can follow? And my mom said something years ago that just really got on my nerves, but it was just like, she pretty much said, well, you know, you could be grateful that you get to set your own, basically you get to trailblaze this. And, you know, that, I guess that's kind of the moment where I was like, I didn't like hearing that, but it was like, but it's too, you know, it's hard, but at the same time I've grown to be very grateful for that, because I've had an opportunity to set the parameters the way I want to see it happen, without, you know, pre-existing conditions or whatever you would. Well, actually, I have two answers for that. The first is Jesus, because I love the way that his style of leadership was servant leadership, and he coached and mentored the people, the disciples, that, you know, he actually walked with them, let them see everything that he did, and he led in such a way that was so influential to where everybody wanted to swarm around him, and, you know, just he made a major impact in the whole world. And that's my first answer. My second answer is my mom. And so with my mom, she didn't do everything right, and she didn't. She's just gone through a lot, and so it just what she really did was show me how to become resilient. She showed me how to, you know, in the midst of chaos and crisis and, you know, one after another, she showed me how to rise up and, you know, be right there. She showed me that I am not what I do. Basically, like, I am is different from what I do. And so that whole process, that's something that she instilled in me, to where I could separate, you know, those two things. And so she really is my hero, my life hero as well, because she just showed me so many times how to fall down and get back up. And so that's kind of like, you know, I was having a conversation with somebody earlier today, and their comment was, she's like a duck. She, you know, goes under the water and comes right back up. So that, you know, I really believe that as well. She's just really resilient, and anything, you know, she just lets it roll off of her back. And that's one thing that she's taught me, and, you know, I'm still learning. but yeah, so that's kind of. My favorite hobby. Well, I have this is more of like a lifestyle, but it's kind of my hobby as well. And so it's personal growth and development. So that's anytime and I probably take it to the extreme, but anytime I have a free moment, I'm listening to Dr. Miles Monroe, I'm listening to John Maxwell, or somebody that is, inspirational, somebody who's gone the path of a leader and is really, seeking to make a difference or has made a difference. And I also, I don't get to read as much today because I have 6 children. I get it in when I can, but just anytime I'm usually listening to something that's inspirational. So other than that, my other hobbies are writing. So I have journals of writings that I've done, just like so many. I've taken after my mom with that as well. So other than that, I really like, I think those are my major hobbies right now. I love to dance as well, and singing is another hobby of mine. So I really love the arts though, and yeah. Well, the first thing that came to mind, or comes to mind, is probably that I'm actually from Europe. I'm not originally from here, and that I am, I think that's pretty much, I'm not actually a citizen. I'm still a resident, so that's actually something that really most people don't know about me. So I'm actually in the process of still getting my citizenship. Actually, that would be my brother. So we kind of went through everything together, thick and thin, and we moved around a lot. So there really wasn't a whole lot of time to form those real close friendships. I did have different friends throughout, I made friends wherever I went, but the real tight, that was I had to be, my long term would be my brother. So I have other siblings, but my little brother lived with me, so. That would be writing. Writing, and I love spoken word poetry as well. So it's really, I love to hear, anybody just, when we have the open mics, or when they've had open mics around Columbus. My favorite dessert is actually, I like raspberry ice cream, but I really, my all-time favorite is there's 2 of them. One of them is the founder's favorite from Cold Stone Creamery, and then there's also the turtle sundae from UDF. So I've liked the turtle sundae from UDF since I was 14. And that used to be my favorite go-to dessert. So Maya Angelou has a quote that says, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And that is a quote I love, ever since I heard it, because that's exactly, that's the essence of, people. People are so important, and that's you can't replace people. You can replace stuff, but you cannot replace people. And so investing time and energy into people, and making sure that they are felt, that they are heard, that they are seen, that they are known, that they're important, is really, really important to me. And as a leader, that's what I try to do, is just let people know that they are, that they're loved, respected, that they're heard, that they're seen, that they are cared for. Because you just never know what happens in life, and people's experiences are so vast that you just never know when someone's having a bad day. a life mantra. That is basically, I am more than a conqueror, and I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Okay, so is it okay if I give a little backdrop so you guys can understand this one? So, okay, when I was 15, and this is kind of where I had to take the time to think about, gosh, what was I like at 15? So at 15, I was in a really, really dark place. I was depressed and lonely, and I felt rejected, and it was, just, I was in an abusive environment, and this was like right before I actually became suicidal. And it was just really, I felt starved for love and acceptance, and just, from my family. And so what I would say to my 15-year-old self is, I would actually tell my 15-year-old self, I'd say, let's stop for a moment and take a deep breath. Take a deep breath, so breathe with me. And I would let her know, you are deeply loved. You are deeply, deeply loved. And I know it's scary. I know it hurts. I know that things aren't what you would love them to be. And that's okay. It's okay that this is temporary. This is not, something that's going to be permanent. And one day you're going to get the chance to shine your light. So that's what I would say. So I guess I would say, my story is there's a lot of sad parts to my story, but at the same time, I guess the theme of my life is kind of thriving in the midst of crisis. And so, and that's still kind of like the theme with the pandemic. So it's, there's a national spelling bee. When I won the school spelling bee when I was in 5th grade. And then I went on to the national spelling bee, won 13th place in that, and I missed the word pursue. But that was notable because that was actually a year after I came to the States. I had to learn, basically when I came here, I learned ESL, like I had to do English as a second language classes, and then a year later, I won the school spelling bee. And it was all because of a teacher who invested time into me. And that, Miss Pillows, I still remember her to this day. And, she saw me, she saw what I was good at, and she encouraged me. And so, that's one notable thing. And then, let's see, I would say the other one is, let's see, in high school, I was inducted into the National Honor Society, and that was in my junior year. And I was also in the writing club, and so, I wrote for the school paper, and so, especially the National Honor Society was really notable for me because, that was like one of the toughest years of my life. Like my parents were constantly fighting, and I was like, I almost like thought about dropping out of school, and it was like I was hanging on by a thread, and then I got inducted to the National Honor Society, and that was just really, really amazing, and just, that was like the bright light then. And so like throughout my life, there's been these moments of bright lights that have kept me going, and those are two of them. And then after basically like with my, right before I graduated high school, I actually got kicked out of my house because my stepdad just didn't know how to deal with me. I wasn't like I was a really well-mannered child, but because he couldn't take, he called it back talk, but what I was doing was trying to practice assertiveness because I knew I needed to, and he just, like, he couldn't deal with it. So, like, and I wasn't like disrespectful or anything. It was just like, he came from really, really old school, and he was like, you know, pretty much sit down, shut up. So, you know, that was just basically, so I didn't know if I was going to go to college, because I just kind of like, once I got out of, you know, right around that time, I was so, like, I don't know what to do with my life at that point, you know, and it was a friend, actually, like a mentor of mine, that it was my Sunday school teacher. You know, him and his wife, they actually bought me a prom dress to encourage me, like, keep going, you're almost there, like, graduate high school. And then it was my, you know, basically, you know, I went to go live with a friend, and then after that, it was just, I decided to, you know, go ahead and I got in the Wilmington College is where I went to high school or college, and so I decided to go, since I got the scholarship, and you know, studied psychology and social work, and got on the National Dean's List. And while I was working a full-time job, part-time job, trying to support pay for my college and go to school full-time. So that was pretty cool. And then, I think Emmaus walk, though, was something that changed my life for really forever. Is, you know, this weekend that I went and just received so much love, and, you know, just, that was a major, just a really major important piece to my walk with with the Lord.